Come home with me." The snow fell silently on Fifth Avenue, each flake catching the warm glow of the streetlights like tiny stars descending from heaven. Christmas was only 3 days away, and the city hummed with the gentle energy of last-minute shoppers and families hurrying home to warmth and safety. Michael Harrison adjusted his expensive wool coat as he walked past the grand department stores, their windows dressed in holiday splendor. His 7-year-old daughter Emma's hand was tucked safely in his, her mittened fingers gripping tightly as she chattered about Santa and presents and all the magic that Christmas promised to bring. "Daddy, look," Emma whispered, tugging on his sleeve. "That lady looks cold." Michael followed his daughter's gaze to a small figure huddled on a bench outside Macy's. The woman wore a thin red coat that had seen better days, her blonde hair escaping from beneath a knitted cap. She sat perfectly still, as if trying not to take up too much space in the world, her hands folded in her lap despite the bitter December wind. Something about her posture struck Michael. She didn't look like the usual street dwellers he'd grown accustomed to seeing during his daily walks through the city. There was a quiet dignity in how she held herself, a careful composure that spoke of recent hardship rather than long-term homelessness. "Can we help her, Daddy?" Emma's voice was soft but insistent. At 7, she possessed the kind of pure compassion that adults often lose along the way. Michael hesitated. As the CEO of Harrison Industries, he'd written plenty of checks to charities and homeless shelters. But direct involvement, that was different, messier, more complicated. Yet something about this particular woman called to him in a way he couldn't explain. He approached slowly, Emma still holding his hand. "Excuse me," he said gently. "Are you all right?" The woman looked up, and Michael found himself staring into the most striking green eyes he'd ever seen. They were tired, yes, but also intelligent and kind. Despite her circumstances, she managed a small smile. "I'm fine, thank you," she said, her voice carrying the practiced politeness of someone who'd learned not to be a burden. "You don't look fine," Emma piped up with the brutal honesty of childhood. "You look really cold." A genuine laugh escaped the woman's lips. "You're very observant," she said to Emma. "I am pretty cold. I'm Sarah," she continued, looking back at Michael. "Sarah Chen. And you're right, your daughter is very kind to notice." Michael felt something shift in his chest at the sound of her name. Sarah. It was a good name, a strong name. "I'm Michael, and this is Emma. We were just, well, Emma thought you might need help." Sarah's smile became more genuine, though her eyes remained guarded. "That's very sweet, but I don't want to be any trouble. I'm just resting for a moment." "Are you a nurse?" Emma asked suddenly, pointing to the small hospital badge still clipped to Sarah's coat. Sarah's hand moved instinctively to cover the badge, and Michael saw her cheeks flush with embarrassment. "I was," she said quietly. "Until recently." The pieces began to fall into place for Michael. A nurse, recently unemployed, too proud to ask for help but with nowhere else to go. The holidays were brutal for people in situations like this. Every door that might normally be open was closed for the season, every helping hand busy with family obligations. "When did you last eat?" Michael asked gently. Sarah's pause was answer enough. "Come with us," he said, surprising himself with the immediacy of the offer. "Just for dinner. Nothing more. Emma and I were heading to get some hot soup anyway." "Oh yes." Emma clapped her hands together. "Please, come. We have lots of food, and it's warm, and maybe you can tell me about being a nurse." Sarah looked between father and daughter, clearly torn between pride and necessity. The wind picked up, sending another flurry of snow swirling around them, and Michael saw her shiver despite her efforts to hide it. "I couldn't impose," she said finally. "You wouldn't be," Michael assured her. "Honestly, Emma's been asking me all week what Christmas spirit really means. I think helping someone who needs it might be a good place to start." Something in his tone must have convinced her, because after a long moment, Sarah nodded. "Just for a little while," she said. "And only if you let me help with something. I don't take charity." "Deal," Michael said, extending his hand to help her up. The walk to Michael's penthouse apartment was quiet but comfortable. Sarah seemed overwhelmed by the building's grandeur, but Emma chattered away, asking about hospitals and patients and whether being a nurse was scary. Sarah answered each question with patience and genuine warmth, and Michael found himself watching her more than was probably appropriate. Over dinner, the story came out slowly. Sarah had been working at Mount Sinai, living paycheck to paycheck like so many healthcare workers. When budget cuts hit and her position was eliminated, she'd burned through her small savings trying to keep her apartment. Pride had prevented her from asking friends for help until it was too late. She'd been sleeping in hospital waiting rooms and 24-hour diners for the past week, showering in hospital restrooms and living on vending machine food. The worst part, she said, stirring her soup absently, isn't being homeless. It's feeling invisible. People look right through you when you're sitting on a bench like that. Like you're not quite human anymore. Michael felt something crack open in his chest. He'd been one of those people, he realized. How many times had he walked past someone in need, too busy with his own life to really see them? You're not invisible, Emma said with fierce certainty. You're right here with us. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. She quickly blinked away. You're absolutely right, she said. Thank you for seeing me. Later, after Emma had gone to bed, Michael and Sarah sat by the fireplace, both nursing cups of hot chocolate. The snow continued to fall outside the large windows, blanketing the city in pristine white. I have a guest room, Michael said quietly. Just until you get back on your feet. Emma likes you, and... He paused, searching for words. And I think we could use someone like you around here. Sarah was quiet for a long time. I can't pay rent, she said finally. Emma's been asking for help with her homework. And she could use someone to talk to about girl things. Her mother died 2 years ago, and I'm still figuring out how to be both parents. Understanding dawned in Sarah's green eyes. You're offering me a job. I'm offering you a home, Michael corrected gently. The job part we can figure out later. Sarah looked around the warm, elegant apartment, then back at Michael's kind face. For the first time in weeks, she felt something she'd almost forgotten, hope. Okay, she whispered. Yes, thank you. 6 months later, Sarah had not only found her footing but had become an irreplaceable part of their small family. She'd taken a position at a nearby pediatric clinic, and her gentle presence had helped both Michael and Emma heal from old wounds while creating new memories. On a warm June evening, as Emma played in the garden and Sarah helped with dinner, Michael realized that the best things in life often came disguised as something else entirely. What had started as a moment of compassion had become something beautiful and lasting. Sometimes, he thought, watching Sarah laugh at something Emma had said, the greatest gift you can give someone is simply to see them. And sometimes, in the act of saving someone else, you discover that you've saved yourself too.